Hi everyone, I'm Ashley Adamson and this is Tea Time. This is unedited and unscripted and we have a very special guest today, my friend Sonia. Today is a little different than usual Tea Time is in that I'm interviewing my friend Sonia. And Sonia's been on quite a wild ride these past few months. She met a guy and he became her husband and she's traveling all around the world right now. And I've just been so shocked at the transformation that she's gone through and it's just so beautiful. So I wanted to kind of share some of her journey and her perspective on her own experience with you guys. So yeah, hi Sonia, welcome to Tea Time.
Hi Ashley. Yeah, goodness, so I guess just to summarize in what you're saying, Max and I met beginning of February. We got engaged beginning of August, and then we got married 2 weeks later.
Oh my God. That's so amazing. And we just watched your wedding footage and it was just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it's like, I mean, I highly recommend getting married really quickly. Just by the way, for anyone out there who's into weddings, the whole multi-year planning thing is so stressful. And it's like, if you only have 2 weeks, you have to just choose the dress that's there, go with the flowers that are there, like go with what's there. And it, I mean, it was a really beautiful wedding.
Yeah, like don't overthink it. Just like go with what feels right and just move.
Yeah, exactly. Just going with what feels right. And I think speaking to that, the piece that you brought up about it being quick, like I also feel like it's really quick. 6 months, 2 weeks. I can definitely say that when I left Berlin for New Zealand, I wasn't thinking of getting married. I had nothing on my mind that was like, okay, now I'm ready. Like I want to, call in this partner and I want him to be there. There was nothing like that. It's like I followed this inner pull that said, hey, you need to go to New Zealand. And I didn't really understand why.
Okay, we might have to just start over again because we just lost lighting. Oh, damn it.
And it's back.
All right, it's back. Let's keep going.
Yeah, exactly. We brought it back. So where was I?
You were talking about basically your inner knowing and kind of like following that.
Yeah, that's right. So I didn't, when I set out, and I'd love to hear if you have a resonant story in this, but like when I set out for New Zealand, it wasn't to find love. It was, in a way, it was to become an expression of love. So it was to allow love to pass through me, but it wasn't because I had a desire to bring in a partnership or bring something into my life. It's because I knew that there was a deeper expression in me that was trying to come through, and that somehow I had to go to New Zealand to express that. And through the process, like meeting him, again, I wasn't looking for a wedding. I wasn't looking for a marriage. But as we continued in that journey and we did our little like dating dance and like, oh, you're hurting me and I'm hurting you and I'm jealous and he's jealous and I don't like you and I don't like you.
Like an accelerated getting to know each other relationship thing.
Definitely COVID, hashtag dating in COVID. Dating in COVID times where it just accelerates everything. Everything got accelerated, and then there was like at each moment along the way, we could have chosen to not be together. At every moment, every week, every day, like every moment, we could have said, no, this isn't working. But instead, what the deeper truth was, oh wow, this is working. Like there's something here. And as we kept leaning into that, we kept realizing that there was something almost bigger than the two of us. Like I felt like yes, I understand that we're now married, but it feels like it was created or crafted by something that isn't him or I.
It's beyond. It's like something bigger is bringing you together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, your heart must have been thumping so hard.
It was, and it still is.
Yeah.
And it's still, it's still so incredible to be. It's like through him, I'm inspired to be a greater expression of love in the world. It's like he brings out this piece in me or unlocks this piece in me that is then better able to give to the world and be in the world and kind of shine my gifts outwards because of that support. And I mean, I could do that before, but it's different. Like there's something in our partnership that really supports the expression of that.
Yeah, you have some new chemistry involved.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the chemistry. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, you want it? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, the chemistry. There's something, I mean, so I was speaking to this thing that's coming through that feels like it's bigger than either one of us. And in the way that we make love, in the way that we connect with each other, and I hope this is okay.
Oh yeah, talk about anything you want. I talk about everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, of course you do.
Yeah.
It feels like we're casting spells. It feels like in the way that we weave our energy and we weave our presence and our love. Again, it doesn't feel like it's just two humans who are there for the sake of their own pleasure, and there is that too. It's very pleasurable, but it feels like there's a spell that's cast in the process of our lovemaking. It's then sent out into the world. I don't even know what it's doing, right? Because I can't see it, but it's just this felt sense, and I think it links to what I said before about feeling like it's bigger than two of us.
Yeah. I see you two having sex, and I see like stars and like little squiggly lines and like little magic pals.
Yeah, a little like.
Oh, you're doing good work there, Sonia.
Yeah, we're doing good work. It's real hard.
Good. We need more of that. We really do. It always just kind of like, I always think about this when I'm reading media and things that are just talking about like the doomsday and like the world that's like getting darker and darker. And I think they never report on, you know, millions of people had great sex today and they were really happy and they had a really good time. And like, they never talk about that. And I bet you some of that magic sex is like keeping this world together in a lot of ways. You know, it's like continuing to blossom more love. You know, and love is immeasurable, and so it can also be really hard for people to measure it and respond to it, because you know, you don't see really big group hugs all the time, and even if you did, I don't know if it would make the news, unfortunately. So that just came up for me as I was thinking about you as sort of like an anchor into the planet, creating and broadcasting more love and more energy and more creation. And you are a powerful, powerful being. So you're grounding in some serious good energy work. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, Ashley, thank you for your powerful words. And your powerful reflection as well.
So another topic that we were going to cover was sort of like following your knowing and your inner knowing. Did you want to touch on that at all?
Do you have a starting point?
Well, I have questions. So,
all right, have at it, girl.
Yeah. So, like, I guess asking the audience, sort of like when you know something, what does that feel like to you? And I want to ask you that too. Like, what does it feel to you when you feel your inner knowing knocking on the door?
It's beautiful question, and I have a very specific answer.
Beautiful.
A very specific answer, because this is what guided me to New Zealand and to saying yes to marriage and saying yes to this man. For me, it's very subtle. It isn't like it's not like something that comes knocking down my door and is like, you absolutely have to do this. It's actually so subtle that it's really easy to distract myself from that feeling. Really easy. I could do so many other things, but if I allow it, it's loud. So it's this weird kind of paradox of how it's easy for me not to hear it. It's really easy for me to distract myself, but when I hear it, it's like I can't not hear it. I can't unhear it.
Right, when you know it's there.
Very loud. Yeah, when I acknowledge its presence, it's very clear, and it gives very clear like yeses and nos, and like this is where you should go and that's where you shouldn't go, and like this is who you should spend time with and that's not who you should spend time with, and it's beyond all logic, and if I try to apply logic to it, it kind of falls apart and it fails, and I can convince myself that I'm wrong, right? But if I don't bring in the logical component and I just listen, I can feel it. And I think another way I've also felt it is it feels like I'm laying in a river or like a current, and so like on the one hand I'm just being held by water and it feels very gentle, and again it's easy to not notice that I'm moving and that there's a current. But then if I just sit up a little bit and I realize I'm moving, then I start to see, oh wow, I'm moving really quickly.
Oh wow.
And when I resist that current, if I get like a clear, yes, and I'm like, but I'm gonna try saying no anyway, I can feel the pressure. It's almost
Of
like
it, like,
standing
trying
up in
to
the
keep
water.
you-
Yeah, I can feel the pressure of it, like trying to pull me. But then I resisted, and usually, not great things happen. Usually, I feel more stress and anxiety. I start to feel unhappiness. I start to feel depressed. I start to feel heaviness, constriction. But I found that if I go with it, and this is how I've learned to trust this feeling, I feel freedom and openness, and it's almost like a relaxation and a spaciousness that comes with following it. Yeah.
So you're rewarded for following it. It feels really good for following it.
Yeah.
And it sounds like when you hear it, you know to follow it, but sometimes you don't hear it. And that's when you're like, oh, I should be listening to it.
Yeah.
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 What is that feeling? Because you said how you respond to when you have the feeling. But if you could like try and palpably describe that feeling of when the knowing shows up, you know, what is it like when the knowing shows up to you? What does it taste like in whatever feeling that you have to describe?
It is like a pull. So now that I sit with it, it's like, I didn't know I'd use this river metaphor, you know, it's like you have conversations and you say shit and sometimes it works. Like,
yeah, go with
that
it.
one worked. So, yeah, it does feel like I'm being pulled by a current. And I wouldn't say it lives in any single part of my body. I feel like it lives around me. And it's like taking all of me with it, and saying, no, we want you to go in this direction. And, yeah, when I resist it, I really feel tension and stress. Like an example was right now, Ashley mentioned that I'm in this transition where I live in Berlin, went to New Zealand, got married. Now we're going from New Zealand to Berlin, packing up everything, and then moving from Berlin to beyond, to America and maybe even Australia. So it's this, like we just don't know what's going to happen next, but there's a lot of movement. And yeah, there was a moment in New Zealand where I really didn't want to leave. And I was like, nope, like I want to stay here. But a part of me already knew that we had to go. And I really didn't want to go because it's a beautiful country. They have great leadership. Right now they're not in lockdown, so it's very free and experiencing, COVID and everything that's happening in the world. And I wanted to stay. Oop, happened again.
We'll get the lighting back.
Oop, it's coming.
Okay.
Yeah. And I wanted to resist it, and the more I resisted it, the more pressure I felt, and eventually I broke down in tears. And a friend of mine was like, she was like, what's going on? I feel like you already know what you need to do, so what's happening? And I was like, yeah, like we need to go, and I don't want to go, but I already know that we need to go, and so I'm crying because it's like
It sounds like you were experiencing two different pulls, and one was your mind piecing together the logic and the reason and the pragmatism of where you were, and your knowing being like, no, we're gonna go in another direction.
Yeah, and even my heart, I would say, wanted to be in New Zealand because it's like, oh, I love it here, it's beautiful and nourishing, but this other piece for me is, it's not just the mind or the heart, and it could be different for everyone, but just in me, it's different than the mind and the heart.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're kind of at close right now. I would love to just kind of relate one thing, which is everything that you've said really resonates with me in terms of the knowing. And once it showed up for me, like knowing that I was a woman and knowing what I must do after that, like it is this feeling of something beyond your heart and your mind. It just comes through and you can feel it, and it's undoubtedly it. How do you know you exist? How do you know like who you are? How do you know what's you? And yeah, it's the same. I think we're talking about the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. What did you want to say?
I was just gonna ask what happened, like if you resisted that, or have you resisted it, and what happened?
I think like if I resisted it, I think it just the thing is the knowing is inevitable. Whatever the knowing is trying to take you to, it is inevitable. You resisting or denying or ignoring it just means that it will happen eventually, but you're delaying what you want to actually happen. Your destiny is calling, and either you can follow it or you can just wait for it to call you back.
You can wait for it to do it to you.
Yeah.
You can consent,
Here I come.
or you can be taken. All right.
Yeah. And yeah, what a good closing. So thank you for taking some time to talk with us today. And I look forward to sharing this with the rest of the world. Is there any way, if people want to reach out to you, that I can like leave a contact or something like that?
Yeah, we can do that. And
Okay.
I'll also give you the link to if you guys want to see the wedding video.
Yeah, we can put all the things. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put links down below. And I'd love to hear from you guys, like what your knowing experience is like. It'd be really interesting to hear if any of you also experience a similar knowing. So with that, we'll close the session with a hug. I'm hugging you.
Yes. Got over it, girl.
Yeah. Oh. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you, Ashley.
Okay, bye guys.